Hi Year 11, welcome to your video tutorial. This video tutorial is intended for students completing the Stage 6 Software Engineering syllabus, first unit of work Programming Fundamentals, and the very first syllabus dot point, Software Development. Information and images gathered in this presentation have been sourced from Software Engineering, the Year 11 course, unless otherwise stated. Okay, Year 11, the fourth stage of the software development cycle, which we are going to look at today, is development. The development stage is pretty much exactly as the name denotes. It's the stage where the design is actually coded into an appropriate programming language. In the structured or the waterfall approach, as you remember, one stage can't begin until the previous stage has ended. So to continue the software development cycle, the entire design is coded. Doesn't matter how long it takes, the entire design is actually coded into appropriate language in the structured approach. However, this is a little bit different in Agile. Scrum, which is an application or a way of implementing Agile, is probably one of the most common examples, and I'm going to use it here. In the Scrum approach to Agile software development, what gets developed in what order? It's done in iterations or sprints. So depending on the features going through at that iteration, maybe there's usually only a focus on a certain request. And that is done. And those things are done as one sprint or one iteration before the next stage of development of the design occurs. The whole design isn't coded at once, rather there's focus areas. Now, the focus areas for development, which would all happen together, depends on the actual program. And depends on what the actual solution is that you're coding. The main thing you have to remember here are two new subject-specific words: sprints, which is really particular to Scrum, or you can also call them iterations. Now, in the development stage of the software development cycle, there's lots of error detection that's available on the fly. So most modern IDEs or integrated development environments have some debugging steps. So as you begin to code in your IDE, you'll notice that it starts to already tell you, this isn't going on, or this isn't right, or that isn't right, or this isn't right, or that isn't right. Now, in terms of QA and other testing processes, the testing process has become so critical to pass things through that TDD, or test-driven development, has become really popular. TDD requires specifications to be formed as a series of tests. Once the code is actually able to execute those successfully, it is complete. Code is written to respond to the tests rather than code being written and then the test happens. So I hope that makes sense. But basically, your code keeps on your code is written in response to the test rather than writing the code and then having it tested. Please feel free to do a bit more of a deep dive into TDD. And that's it, guys. That's all that really needs to be discussed in the development phase. It might be a good idea for some of you to do a bit more of a deep dive into the Scrum approach and what actually is a sprint and some examples, as well as the testing process and how a lot of code development is done with a TDD or a test-driven development focus.